Welcome back everyone. So today is a little update on what I'm currently growing on my shelving unit in my office. If you've been watching my recent videos, you'll know that I planted up my caladium bulbs and my colocasia esculenta a couple of weeks ago. So as you can see, the esculenta has just started to wake up, and so far nothing from the caladiums, but I'm expecting to see something in the next 1 to 2 weeks. My butterfly wing plants, there was a slight incident with those, but I'm going to be updating you on those very soon. So up on this top shelf here underneath my wonderful Spider Farmer grow light, we've got a few things growing. I decided to chop up my verrucosum. It ended up being a very long vine with a few leaves on the top, so I decided to give him the chop, and I literally just popped him in some water today. See how he does in there. And we've got an Aglaonema pictum tricolour that I've been growing for many months. Let me show you. So we've got some roots on there and a couple of small leaves. Originally I thought this was a goner, but I thought I'll give it a chance and stick it in some water, and it produced some roots and some leaves, so I might end up putting that one in some moss. I think it might do a bit better in moss now that it's got some roots. My beautiful variegated monstera propagation is doing so well. It's getting its third leaf. I'll get it down so you can have a better look. Look at that variegation. Oh, fourth leaf, sorry. Didn't even notice that one there. So we've got this one unfurling. So this was just literally a bit of stem that I plonked in some sphagnum moss, and I think there's a bit of perlite in there as well. I can't remember how many months ago I put this in here. I think it was possibly around 3 months ago. It could be longer, my memory is a bit rubbish to be honest, but I'm so pleased. That needs a bit of a water today. It's looking a bit dry. I think I'm going to pot this one up soon. I really want to see how the roots are doing. So as you can see at the moment, it is 44% humidity and 27.5 degrees Celsius. I think the humidity is a little bit higher than 44. I think it's because I've got it on this shelf and it's quite warm. The humidifier's up here set on 50, and I think it's reading about 49 at the moment. Oh, it's okay, so it's set on 55 and it's reading 50. So I do have the central heating on full blast, so at the moment it is a bit harder to get up the humidity, but all the plants seem fine. Roll on spring is all I can say. So here in the corner we've got a variegated syngonium. That's also getting a new leaf, and I think it might be half and half because it looks very pale on one side, but I can't really show you because it hasn't unfurled properly yet. I decided to chop up my pink splash and it's doing really well. Again, let me get this down. So it was getting a little bit out of control, so I thought I'd give it a trim, and it's produced some lovely new leaves. Look at this one. And let's have a look at the roots. Looking good. I'm pretty sure I only popped these in water maybe a month ago, so they've rooted really quickly. So for my cuttings that I root in water, I will change the water once a week if I remember, and I use room temperature filtered water. Really pleased with how those are doing. I've got my Hoya here right underneath the grow light because it loves the sun, and we don't have much sun at the moment, so it's been under here for the winter. It seems quite happy. Same with this guy. This was a cutting that I got about a year ago from one of my friends, and it was originally about this tall, so it has grown a fair bit. Here we've got some Florida Ghost cuttings, again rooting in water. At the back there's a little Anthurium hybrid, and it's getting a new leaf. We've got a Cupria, This was a tiny little shoot when I first planted it, and since then it's got this lovely leaf, and then I can see another one unfurling there. So I try and keep the soil slightly moist with this one. It doesn't really like drying out too much. Next to him we've got what I believe is a veitchii, and I just noticed some little growth points on this one this morning, which is a good sign. Actually, I might give that moss a bit of a mist. Behind him we've got some Begonia maculata whitei cuttings rooting in water. And then here we've got a melanochrysum, again rooting in water, and I think the roots are looking pretty good. So all the plants here on this shelving unit I water either once or twice a week. I do find it gets quite warm in here because of the grow lights, and I've also got a heat mat on the bottom, so sometimes I have to water them twice a week. I just keep an eye on them, put my finger in the soil or the moss and just check that all the waters are topped up. I actually need to give the caladiums a little bit of water today, so I'm watering these at the moment very sparingly until I see some growth. At the moment I'm just concentrating the water kind of in the middle section where the bulbs are, and then once they start growing roots I'll water the whole surface area of the pots. Give the colocasia a bit of a water. Give him a little bit more. Got a variety of things growing here on this top shelf. This one actually belongs to Foliage Fanatic, but I'm looking after it for him, and I just noticed that it's getting a new leaf, which is quite exciting. Got a few burley marksies growing. Got a Paraiso Verde, which just got a lovely new leaf with lots of nice variegation. I recently posted something on Instagram about my humidifiers producing white dust, and that's because we get really hard water around here and it's basically leaving white dust all over my furniture, and it's becoming a bit of an issue, so I've been looking into that, and thank you so much for all your comments and suggestions, and I think I'm going to go with a countertop water distiller, so I'm just looking into that at the moment, so hopefully that will eliminate the white dust issues. Sorry, I just had to run downstairs. Sorry, I just had to run downstairs twice and get the door. What was I saying? So basically what I mentioned in my post about the white dust was that I do use filtered water in my humidifiers. I clean them out once a week. Sorry, I'm a bit out of breath from running down the stairs. I've also tried popping in a demineralization cartridge into my humidifiers, and that actually did help prolong the white dust a little bit more, because before I was kind of dusting every week and I didn't notice quite as much build up until it got to about 14 days, so they have helped. As I mentioned, like if you're having issues with white dust, keep an eye on my videos because I will be testing out the countertop water distiller, and I'm really excited. And just a quick note on this particular humidifier, I absolutely love it. There's nothing wrong with the humidifier. The white dust isn't the humidifier's fault, it's literally because the tap water is so hard around here. The most amazing feature about it is that you can take off the lid and fill it from the top, which is so much easier, and I think they look really nice. So yeah, I've got this one here, and then I've got one downstairs in my living room. I decided to move my big pink princess up here because I don't think it was loving life on the kitchen windowsill. This one doesn't really have much variegation. There's one leaf somewhere that's got a little bit. Let me try and find it. Here. Tiny bit of variegation on this leaf. I would put it underneath the light, but it'll be a bit too close to it, so hopefully it'll be quite happy here. Behind it is Romeo. If you remember my giant regale that I had in my living room, well, I had some issues with the roots and he dropped his leaf So Zahir from Foliage Fanatic recommended me to wrap the trunk in moss, which is what I've done. I've kind of tied it on, and he's now produced some lovely, nice, chunky roots. I'll get him down actually so I can show you. So what happened was the trunk didn't actually have that many roots to begin with, and somehow they ended up drying out a bit too much, and the trunk became very dehydrated and went kind of wrinkly and soft. So then I popped it in some water, which actually rehydrated the trunk, but I couldn't see any roots forming and it was in water for quite a while. So that's when Zahir recommended me to wrap it in moss. So let's have a little look. So you can see the roots poking out. Nice big chunky one there. So I really recommend this method if you're having problems with your anthuriums and you need to reroot them. Give this a go. So at the bottom I've just put some pebbles, and with it being encased in this glass, it's quite humid in there. So every week I'll just give it a little bit of water. I'll just water around the top here and let it kind of trickle down. And then if there's a bit of excess, it will just run down into the pebbles, and that actually helps increase the humidity. But he's just popped out this leaf, but sometimes the first leaf might not look that great and you might have to wait until the second one unfurls. You can see there's a slight bit of crispiness there, so I've got a feeling this leaf's not going to be that great, but the next one will be brilliant. Well, let's hope so anyway. So over on this side, underneath my other Spider Farmer grow light, we have my Philodendron luxurians. This is its newest leaf here, and it's much bigger than the previous leaves. And then over in the corner here we've got my beautiful variegated monstera. So when I chopped up this plant to propagate it, this was the top cutting. I just got it down off the shelf because the camera was having a hard time focusing. It was quite annoying. So this is a beautiful white leaf that it produced possibly almost 3 months ago now, and there's still no brown bits on it. It has gone a bit curly, but it's still looking really nice. And then this is the newest leaf here. So I'm really pleased with how this one is growing. And then the bottom part of the plant is in my kitchen, and that's also doing really well. So don't be scared to cut up your variegated monstera. They root really easily and they grow, in my opinion, super fast. I personally like to root mine in water, and I've never had a bad experience with that so far. So this is the pink splash that I chopped up, and since giving it the chop, it's produced this beautiful pink leaf. And we've got my soderoy here, which I actually moved from under the grow light and then started yellowing a bit, so obviously wasn't very happy that I moved it, so I've put it back. I just put this little guy back here as I moved him when I took down the monstera. This is a pink princess that I've been growing for, must be about a year. So I removed a little side shoot from the mother plant, and it was so tiny, really, really tiny. And now look at it. And actually this beautiful plant is going to a new home this week. There's a new leaf about to unfurl there. Just got a smaller regale down here, waiting for a new leaf, and I've got a metallicum there at the back. I just remembered this guy, it's a Bambino alocasia coming back from the dead. Originally this was in my biOrb and it kind of outgrew it, but when I took it out it had a bit of a fit and dropped its leaves, so I'm kind of regrowing that one, but it will be fine and it will adapt to its new home environment. So that's pretty much everything I'm growing here on my shelving unit. I'm super excited for the caladiums to come up. Once they do start growing, I'm going to have to remove this glass shelf here, so I'm going to have to do quite a bit of shuffling. But I'll keep you updated on the caladiums on a video, and also the butterfly wing plants. As always, I'll link all the products I use and recommend in my description box. If you've got any questions, please ask away. I'm really looking forward to spring and getting out into the garden again. I just ordered a new palm tree for the garden, which should be arriving hopefully next week, so that is super exciting. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all soon.